Once upon a time, there was a little girl named Reem who lived in a village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river. Now, every year when the snow would melt and the birds returned from their travels, the village school would hold a spring planting competition. All the children would gather around the school garden, each clutching a small pot filled with soil and a special seed provided by the school. They would take their pots home and tend to their seeds, watering them every day and singing to them as they grew. Then, after 1 month, they would bring their plants back to school to see whose would grow the tallest. Now, Reem loved this annual event because she loved to sing, and she believed that her sunflower seeds would always sprout the happiest tune. But this year, something was different. The day after she planted her seed, she noticed that none of the other children's seeds had sprouted either, and she began to worry. She watered her pot every day, sang to it, and even gave it extra fertilizer. Still, there was no sign of life. A few days later, Reem saw that some of her friends' seeds had sprouted and were beginning to grow, and though she was happy for them, she couldn't help but feel discouraged about her own seed. It didn't seem right. It didn't look right. And if she brought it to school, she would be laughed at. As the days went by, more and more of her friends' plants sprouted. First, tiny green shoots appeared. Then leaves unfurled, reaching towards the sun. Soon, they were all bringing their blossoming plants to school to show off to their friends. Reem wanted to join them, but what could she show? One day, while walking past the market, she saw a vendor selling vegetable seedlings. Maybe she could buy one, plant it, and have it ready to show in a month. After all, no one would know the difference. The idea took root in her mind, growing stronger with each passing moment. By the time she reached home, Reem had convinced herself that it was the right thing to do. She dug a small hole in the garden, placed the seedling inside, covered it with soil, and watered it. Every day she sang to it and talked to it as if it were her own. And before she knew it, the seedling began to grow. Within a few weeks, it had grown into a healthy plant with many ripe tomatoes. Reem was so proud of herself. She carefully picked a tomato and walked to the window to admire its plumpness. It looked just like the ones in the market. No one would ever know. As the appointed day approached, excitement filled the air. The children gathered in the school garden, each displaying their plant. Some had sunflowers taller than themselves, while others showed off pepper plants heavy with fruit. When it was Reem's turn, she walked up to the group holding her tomato plant. The other children gasped. "Where did you get such a wonderful plant, Reem?" they asked. "I found it in our garden," she replied, her cheeks turning red. Just then, their teacher arrived. "What a beautiful collection of plants you've all grown," she said with a smile. "We should be so proud of ourselves," said a boy proudly, "especially me. My sunflower is the tallest." The teacher nodded. "Indeed, Hassan, you may have the tallest sunflower, but remember, the meaning of spring is not just about height. It's about patience and honesty." Confused, the children looked at each other. "What does she mean?" whispered Reem. "I don't know," whispered Hassan. "Let's wait and see," said another. The teacher continued. "Today we are not going to measure the sunflowers, but we will be judging on how well you followed the rules and cared for your seeds." This time, Reem's heart sank. She knew she hadn't been honest. She had replaced her seed with a seedling from the market. Had she really cared for it? She looked down at her feet, ashamed. The teacher walked up to her. Reem, why is your seed still in the pot? She asked gently. Reem's face turned pale. She had never been called out before. She opened the pot, revealing the lifeless seed inside. I'm sorry, teacher, she said softly. I wanted to win, so I bought a tomato seedling from the market and replaced my seed. The children gasped. Oh, Reem, said the teacher. Honesty is important, but I believe you're still a winner. Reem looked up in confusion. What do you mean? The teacher smiled. You've learned a valuable lesson today, Reem. That's why you're the winner. You've shown us that even if we make mistakes, we can always learn from them and try to do better next time. And though you weren't honest at first, you were honest in the end. That's something to be proud of. The other children nodded. Yeah, Ree, you're the real winner, said one. Reem felt a warmth spread through her chest. It was a feeling better than any victory. She had known she had done something wrong and had admitted it. It didn't feel good at first, but now she felt lighter. The teacher handed her a small pot. This is for you, Reem. Plant this seed in your garden and care for it. I promise you, it will bloom the most beautiful flowers you've ever seen. Reem took the pot, thanked the teacher, and ran to her garden. She dug a small hole, placed the pot inside, covered it with soil, and watered it. Then she sat beside it, took out the seed, and planted it. She knew the seed wasn't like the others. It would take a whole year to bloom, and that's okay. She would wait for it. She hummed a happy tune as she closed her eyes. 1 year passed. Spring had come again, and the children were preparing for the annual planting competition. This time, Reem had taken extra care of her garden. She had weeded it, fertilized it, and made sure that every plant had enough water. In the center, she had built a small fence to keep animals away from her special tree. She remembered the pot of soil given by her teacher, the one that contained a magical seed that would bloom the most beautiful flowers in the world. She wondered if it was ready yet. Excited, she ran to the tree and knocked on the fence. Peeking over, she saw a small shoot pushing its way through the soil. Relievingly, it wasn't too late. As the days went by, the shoot grew taller and stronger until one morning, Reem woke up to the sight of a blooming tree in her garden. Its branches were laden with flowers, each more beautiful than the last. The petals were a soft pastel pink, and their fragrance filled the air. Delighted, she ran to the window and shouted, "It's blooming! It's blooming!" Soon, all the children were gathered in Reem's garden. They had come to admire her wonderful tree. She was so happy to share it with them. The teacher smiled. "I told you, Reem, that seed would bloom the most beautiful flowers. Look how patient you've been, Reem. Your honesty and patience have paid off, and now you have the most beautiful tree in the village." The children clapped. "Wow, Reem, your tree is amazing. Can we play under it?" "Of course," said Reem with a smile. And so they did. They spent the whole afternoon playing and laughing under the shade of her tree. That year, no one participated in the planting competition, because who would want to win when they could spend their spring break playing under the most beautiful tree in the village? Reem learned that being honest and patient led to true growth, and that sometimes the most beautiful things take time to bloom. And that's the end of the story. The end. Did you like the story? Tell us in the comments. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on any of our new stories. See you next time.